before I start real quick, I just want to say I hope you guys understand how lucky you are. If I could go back 10 years and have somebody come to me and say, you know what, there's this seminar and there's going to be 12 or 13 black belts there, but it costs $1,000. I'd have gone out and robbed a convenience store to make sure. So to see this today, and honestly, it's frustrating for me. For me to learn jiu-jitsu was a struggle. I had to, count the seconds till Master was coming back to town, while me and Pete sat there and tried this or tried that. So I hope you guys appreciate how lucky you guys are, and me as still a student who's still trying to learn and still trying to get better. I appreciate everything you guys showed today. It was awesome. One of the things with jiu-jitsu that I learned pretty early is everybody wants to get better. Unfortunately, most people associate getting better with learning more. There's so much to jiu-jitsu that it's not just about adding more tricks to your arsenal. If you're out there and you're doing arm bars and every time you do an arm bar it doesn't work, it's not the technique's fault, I can promise you that. If you're doing Kimura, rear naked chokes, guillotines, the basic fundamental techniques, and it's not working, it's not the technique's fault. Jiu-jitsu is perfect. And like I said, you guys are lucky enough to have these people standing behind me to train with all the time. So ask questions. Take the time and spend the time with these guys and truly get better. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go over a basic Americana from side control. Nothing too crazy or fancy, but I want to do it in a way that my success rate is going to go through the roof, where I'm going to finish it every time instead of every now and then I catch it and then I move on to something else if I don't. So keeping in mind positional dominance, control, pressure, I'm going to stay on top here. If I get this arm out of position, where I have, to me, out of position would be the bicep on this here or the tricep on this here, where I have his arm out of position. I have it isolated. So we're going to work with the bicep on this here. From this position, I'm going to hook the bicep, and I'm no thumb, hooking over the top, and I'm going to pull my elbow down to his hip, making sure that I keep his arm tucked in tight. So you can see I'm hooking here, and I'm pulling down nice and tight. Here, I hook, and pull down nice and tight, and I'm really controlling this arm. When I do that, it forces his forearm a little bit down onto my shoulder. If he's trying to reach up and around my neck, it's difficult for him. He's got to struggle for it. And I've got body weight on top of it. So I'm very tight and controlled, and I'm keeping it here. As most of us know, when I do an Americana, if his elbow is straight out from his shoulder, the pressure is moderate. I go up pretty high, and I chose my very flexible. So it goes up very easy. If I raise his wrist up and his elbow goes above his shoulder, I can't submit. I'd have to go clear to the ground to finish him. But if I take that elbow and I bring it all the way down to his belt, and I keep this tight here, when I start to raise, it gets tight immediately. And if I were to lift this up right now, it would do some damage to the arm. So when I'm in this position here, if I'm looking to do an Americana, I don't want to be in a position where if he swims this arm in front of my face, I catch it here and his elbow is now out from his shoulder. And my arms are away from my body. I have to use a lot of muscle, a little arm-on-arm strength to try to bring his arm back down to try to finish. It's difficult, especially because if I try to pull his arm down, all he has to do is move his hips that way. I don't have any. So what I'm going to do is, again, I hook, I isolate, I bring my elbow down all the way below his belt here, and I suck it in tight. Control. From this position, I'm going to roll my right shoulder forward to push his arm out of position. If he's trying to grab behind my back right now, you can see it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm doing this by use of body weight. I am so much stronger than Mike, it's ridiculous, so you have to bear But I'm trying to get my body weight involved. I'm trying to get up off of him a little bit and driving my shoulder using the use of my body weight to bring his arm forward. From here, my hand swims inside, and I'm going to start to attack the Americana. Very, very important that when I do this, I focus on that elbow staying down below the belt right here. When I keep this here, as I push his arm down, just pushing it down a little bit. I can't even get it to the point, a normal person, again, Mike is one of the most flexible people I've ever rolled with. And when I push his arm down, before I even really get it locked up, it's excruciatingly tight. Very, 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 very tight. So we hook, pull down, control, heavy with the shoulder, and I look to feed. Again, talk about this a lot when I teach at my academy or when I come down here. I want to use the right technique in the right situation. If I get in this position and he starts driving his arm up in the air, some of the stuff that these guys showed fits in perfect. If he's driving his arm up, everything we did earlier becomes a little bit more in play. It's not what I'm dealing with. So be good training partners. Control, push. He tries to save his arm by coming in front. Lock up the wrist. Again, monkey grip. And here's the key. As I drive his wrist to the ground, and this hand starts to swim in, I'm not going to reach for this wrist with this hand. If I do that, his elbow comes away. And I do this the whole time. I'm sucking everything in the whole time. I'm always in jiu-jitsu bringing things into my body. Very, very strong and tight. I'm very, very weak away from my body. So as I lock this up, pull down tight, control, over the top, drive with that shoulder. He tries to save his arm. I grab. And now as I reach for my wrist here, everything pulls in. Straight to the finish. And from that position, from here, when I start to attack, he starts moving his hips away to save it. He's not going to. Very, very tight, very little space. Well, the keys to jiu-jitsu, across the board, I don't care what you're trying to do. A lot of people tag me as the MMA jiu-jitsu guy or the self-defense jiu-jitsu guy, but jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu. There's basic concepts there. There's distance management, positional dominance, control. That is true everywhere. No matter what jiu-jitsu you're doing, those apply all the time. So when I'm in this position, here, it all applies. So distance management, I want things close to me right now. I have control. I want everything to be in tight. So I'm tight. Control. Push. He tries to save his arm. Everything stays very, very tight. No space. If he's trying to get space here, he doesn't have it. Because I've established my dominant position and I'm focusing on my control. I don't ever let anything supersede that. If I have an Americana there, and at any second I feel like I'm losing it, and I roll with some big, strong guys, especially down here, and when I get there, if for some reason my hand slips and he starts to get up on his side and he starts to shrimp out and create space, Americana's not that important. Maintaining dominant position and staying in control is. So keep that in mind. One last time. Is it a minute and a half yet? Control, hook, arm down by the bicep, staying heavy. Here, drive with the shoulder. He tries to save. I control everything. Again, this is so important. When I go to reach for my wrist here, I'm trying to bring my wrist to my hand. Everything sucks inside. Finish. And again, you can see it looks like I'm hardly doing anything to Mike. And Mike is one of the most flexible people I know. If you were to do this to me, you would get to about here every time. Because it's so much pressure here already. Question. Space this way, please. Again, hooking, elbows in tight, control, lots of pressure, driving with my shoulder. He tries to save his arm and I control. From this position, what I don't want to do is reach for my wrist and give him any momentum moving away. That's where I lose it. So from this position, when I control, even with this wrist, I'm pulling in. Everything is pulling towards me and tight to my body. So when I'm here and I grab it, everything pulls in tight, and I finish. So the finish will be this position here, not really out here. If you put me in this position right here, you get stuck in this position right here, and it's a fight. I might be able to win this battle. I wouldn't against Mike. He's too flexible. He's too good with his hips to be able to do it. I get to this position. He swims in front. I control from here. As I pull in, I'm going to finish this every time. Keep it tight. Control. In. Good. Ready?
That was a good one.